Welcome to the Omnipresent Growth Flywheel, and I'm absolutely buzzing to bring this to you and to really just break it down. There's been a significant shift over the last 12 to 18 months in how to acquire clients, and what used to work back in 2020, 2021, 2022, 23 and into 24, as we moved into the latter part in 2024 to 2025 and 2026, there started to be a shift. Now, we all know we're in a trust recession. Skepticism is high. Trust is extremely low. And the way that people are buying has simply just changed. And what I really wanted to do is to create a system that allows you to stay in your zones of genius. We are all service providers. Each and all of you has a skill set, and you have worked on developing that skill set and that craft over however many months or years. And most service providers are fantastic when it comes to the service. When it comes to the entrepreneurial part of the business, so marketing and sales, it's not your skill set. It's not your zone of genius. And if you consistently have to force yourself to be something you're not, then this is often a reason why people struggle. So this system that I'm bringing to you is something that allows you to stay in your zone of genius. It allows you to just be who you are. So it's a system that lets your expertise, lets your wisdom, lets your knowledge do the heavy lifting for you, and will allow people to work through an ecosystem, to work through a system where they will sell themselves on wanting to work with you. So there's no more having to chase, there's no more having to persuade. And it's simply just about you owning what makes you, you. So let's get into the actual presentation itself so that we can go on a much deeper dive for this. So this is what the Omnipresent Growth Flywheel looks like. Now, before I get into it, I've learned this from a fantastic gentleman called Tom Youngs. He created the original version of this. He called this his One Simple Flywheel. I've then taken that and I've basically personalized it to myself with my own past 5 years of experience in doing what I've been doing now. And this is what I want to bring you to. So this is what the flywheel looks like. And what I want you to understand is a system that once people go into it, it compounds. And the reason that it compounds is because once people are in the ecosystem, they are there. So it's very, very easy for you to create additional touch points, to continue to nurture them, to continue to add value to them, to continue to pre-sell them, to covertly sell them on wanting to work with you. Let's just go through it bit by bit. So first thing I want you to understand, we've got our standard practice, which is what gets you to 5 to 10K per month. Okay, and that's in the blue. In the green is what you're going to want to use if you want to grow to 20K per month, and 30K per month is in the purple. So you'll see the blues, the greens, and the purples in this diagram. So first thing we need to do is get attention. So how do you get attention? Now, we went through this in the $30,000 Freedom Lifestyle Business Blueprint. So you grow an audience of your ICP. You do service-led content and conversations. You use your indoctrination series. You do covert sales so that you can pre-sell people. You run your cash campaigns. You implement the build, launch, and profit system so you can get your next 10 clients, get them into your core offer. And within your core offer, you start to develop your signature intellectual property. And what you can see, this takes from attention, you generate leads. This is where the education comes in. From the education, we want to get customers or clients. So that's where the conversion comes in. Then you've got the fulfillment, and that's the transformation inside the service. The success stories that you get within that feed back in. So as I say, this is a system that everything is interlinked. Everything is very much a continuous journey that you can take people on. And even if they don't get to the point where you can get the conversion, they're in the system. So all of this stuff here within the education is consistently going out there, because not everybody's ready to buy now. But it doesn't mean they're not going to be ready to buy in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 months. So really what we're looking to do is use this system, use this flywheel, keep people in your ecosystem, keep that proximity to you. And at a certain point, they will be ready to buy. And when they're ready to buy, it's super easy for you to convert them, get them into the service, deliver the transformation, and then feed that back in. And that's going to be rocket fuel to the growth of your business. Moving on to the organic traction. Okay, so all we want to simply do here is gain more traction. So just keep showing up organically, keep positioning yourself as a category of one, keep providing evidence that you are undeniable. At that point, you can start automating leads, and that's where you can use Zapier, ManyChat, email automations, and that's again just a leverage system just to make it easier for you to be able to communicate with your leads and ultimately get them into more of the ecosystem, so more into the education where you can nurture them, pre-sell them, and get them ready to buy. As we know, we have the proximity effect. So the more time people spend on your brand, the higher likelihood they will buy. Bingers are buyers. Now, at that point, we can also start using and utilizing a VSL to, again, get people ready to buy, because within the VSL, you are educating them on exactly what happens inside your service. It's where you can then also move into being able to sell from an offer document and an application process, which then leads into effortless sales. And that's where you can start building the leverage growth model. So remember what I said, once you move into phase 2 and phase 3, it's really when you want to implement a leverage growth model. Within that, you have your choreographed client experience. So remember what I said, you've got the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 180-day, whatever the duration of your service, but it's also the milestones, it's the touch points. And it is a choreographed sequence of education that somebody can consume that and still get the results. Okay, but you're really going to learn that from what you do inside your core offer and a deeper understanding of what goes in to the customer journey so that you can build that choreographed client experience. Then we move up into the 30K per month range. This is where you're going to amplify attention. Simply put, it's where you can start running paid ads. That's also where you can do a multi-channel launch. So as we know, when you're working initially, you want to prioritize one core channel. Don't worry about being everywhere at all times. Focus on one channel, build your business to 10 to 20K per month, and then expand. Then go on to other channels. At this point, you can start creating a little bit of a mass movement for yourself because, again, you've got more leads, more awareness. There's a bigger level of omnipresence. You're not in obscurity anymore. And this is where you can really start to open up and expand the vision. And you can just create a much bigger movement for yourself. Then this is where we introduce a dual offer. So again, remember what I said, focus on one offer, get yourself to 10 to 20K with one offer, and then introduce a second offer. You don't want to do that too early because you're just splitting attention and you're making it more difficult for you to achieve the goals that you've got. At that point is where compound growth comes in. So compound growth, same as if you ever do investments, there is a compounding effect that happens over a period of time of just doing the investments. Okay, so you keep posting the content, keep sending the DMs, keep sending the emails, keep producing the YouTube content, just keep doing all of the right things. And as your list grows, as your exposure grows, as you've got a high level of awareness around you, that's really where the compound growth is going to kick in. And at that point, you can really go salesless as well. So this is where you can start closing deals without having to jump on sales calls. Okay, but you don't want to do that prematurely before you're ready or before you understand how can you sell somebody without them having that conversation with you. You continue to stack wins in case studies, and then that's where you can start building a high agency community. And a high agency community is, pretty much kind of like a mastermind, and these are higher agency type of people, higher capacity types of people, and that's really where you can start moving and shaking and just doing things on a little bit bigger scale, okay? So that is what the flywheel looks like. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the evergreen content system. So we know we've got the indoctrination series, and we know how we build the indoctrination series is from your client resources. It's from your signature intellectual property. So within the indoctrination series, we get super clear on what is the core pillars of your service. Okay, what is the signature intellectual property that you have? From that, you're then able to create your indoctrination series, whether it's 3 episodes, 4 episodes, 6, 7 episodes, whatever it is. We also know the transcript from these videos double up and it becomes an email mini course. Now, what we want to do is primarily make it easy for people to say yes to us. So remember, we've got the stepping stone funnel, which is nothing more than a series of easy yeses. So if you make one of your primary lead magnets for people to get access to your email mini course, which is a 1 to 2 minute read each day delivered to them over a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 day period of time, whatever it may be, that's a very easy thing for them to say yes to. Because within the email mini course is the link to the video itself. But if you're trying to offer people in initially to the videos, then all that's happening with that is you're asking people to give you a bigger time commitment. So instead of saying, hey, I've got this mini series and it's like 2 hours worth of content, that's a time investment. They may not have it, so therefore they may go through it. But if the emails go to them and they're saying yes to a 1 to 2 minute read each day, that's an easy yes. And if they like what they read, curiosity takes over, they click the link to the video, they go through to the YouTube series, they're going to start watching it anyway. Okay? So that is your evergreen system. And the reason that is evergreen, because this becomes, as we looked into down here, the indoctrination series is part of the standard practice. So you are going to continually use this over the next 12 months to be a core component that helps you to market and to covertly pre-sell people and wanting to work with you, because you are quite literally taking everything that you do within the service and your client resources and your signature intellectual property, and all you are doing is you are putting people into your series where they can get the time on brand, where they can get the proximity, where you can covertly sell them, because what you're doing is you're teaching, you're educating, you're engaging them, but at the same time you are covertly selling them. So that is the evergreen system. Client resources, signature intellectual property, that becomes your indoctrination series. It also doubles up and becomes your email mini course. Moving on to the content cadence. Okay, so you can see you've got daily, yearly, weekly, monthly, and biannually. So the content system becomes a lot easier because, again, you know what you have within your 6 pillars or 4 pillars, 5 pillars, whatever you've got within your business. So each piece of content that you post on a daily basis is congruent and aligned and in keeping with those pillars. So every single time you post a piece of content, you know exactly where you want to lead people to. So you are adding value, you are doing the service-led content, and the call to action becomes to comment a keyword which will get them into your series. So you can see for each of these, there is a piece of content with keywords. Now, if anybody ever comments on any of my content, any of those words, there is a ManyChat trigger that I have set up, which means they immediately get access to one of the episodes of the series. Okay? So the content, the service-led content, has to be aligned with what's in the series, because what's in the series is what's in your offer. And you build a series, and you build content that feeds people into the series. So then what you have is, if they resonate with the content and they go into the series, it means there's going to be a resonance with the offer itself, because it is all in keeping with what's in the service. So you're quite simply taking what you do within the service, you are making that public, you are teaching, you are educating, you are showing exactly what you do. Anybody resonates with that, they move forward, they go into the series, and then the system starts taking over. And at that point, you've got an email and they are in. Yeah, because you take them from your service-led content, you're feeding them in to your indoctrination series, and that's where you continually covert and pre-sell. Because once they're in there, they are in this ecosystem. And once they're in there, you have a very leveraged way of communicating with your most engaged leads because they are now part of your email list. So as I said, this evergreen system here will stay in place for the next year. Now, you can update the episodes if you see a way of improving it, or if you see a drop off in engagement or watch time or whatever it may be. So the series doesn't change, but the content in some of the episodes can change. It can be upgraded, but you want to just make sure the series is that body of work that everybody will consume for you. And if they watch it, and if they're resonating with it, they will see value not just in the service, but also in you. And they will pre-sell them on the belief that working with you is the right fit, the right solution for them. Moving into the weekly. So as we know, you're going to post once a week, and it's going to be a lesson or a lecture on YouTube. And again, the lessons are taken from your signature intellectual property. So everything stays aligned. It's congruent. It's not posting random shit and going off brand or off topic. It's really about showing up and doing the service-led content. If you teach and you educate and you show people exactly what you do and how you do it, and then you provide proof and evidence and you come with receipts, that will help somebody to have more belief in you, to have less skepticism around you, and they will just start to trust you more. But if you hold all of that back, and then you're trying to get people onto a call, and then you're going to try and educate them, and then you're going to try and pitch the service, and you're going to show them, all that's happening is you've invited a person to a call before they're anywhere near close to having a conversation about working with you. Whereas this system means that they don't come to a call to be educated. They don't come to a call to be sold to. They are coming to a call because they've already made a decision for themselves that they know who you are, what you do, how you do it, your methodologies, the particular solutions and methodologies and frameworks that you have to solve problems that they've got. And they've already made that decision for them. Okay. So lessons stay congruent and aligned to your signature intellectual property. So if you've got 6 pillars of content that were within your client resources, it means you've got 6 pillars of social media content. So when you're posting daily on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, whichever one you use, or you're posting weekly on your YouTube, it is always congruent. It stays aligned. Nothing goes off brand or off topic. Also, what you want to include on a monthly basis is a case study. So simply put, whoever's been achieving the best results within your service, one of your clients, jump on a call with them, interview them, and conduct a case study. That case study goes into your email list. It goes and you post about it on your social media and give people the link to go and watch the full video, but it also goes onto your YouTube. Okay, so it's got 3 different destinations that it can go to. And again, if people watch it and they consume it and they can resonate with something that they're seeing and hearing, and they say, okay, this person's quite like me. I can see they were struggling with the things I'm struggling with. I can see how this particular person has been able to achieve this, and I see how they've been able to do that. I'd like that for myself. I'm now interested. Now, we've also got the covert VSL. So the covert VSL is simply put a video that is hosted on your YouTube, and it is not a blatant VSL. The reason it's a covert VSL is because what it is doing is teaching people and showing people your exact methodologies that get people results. So again, if you want somebody to come to you interested in working with you and ready to move forward, ready to invest, is it not a smarter decision for you to have a covert VSL a video asset that people can be directed to. And once they watch that and they can see the full breakdown of your methodology, your system, your signature intellectual property, if they can see that, again, it gives them the opportunity to make that decision for themselves. They like it and they want it. And then from that, you can drive traffic directly to your calendar. It can be to send a DM or whatever the application process you choose to move forward with. Okay, so that is the content cadence. You've got your daily service-led content that goes on to whichever platform you're using. In a year's space, you're going to keep using the same indoctrination series, and you're going to use that as one of your primary lead magnets, your primary sales assets that people will go to. You're also going to post weekly on your YouTube that are going to, again, teach people exactly what you do inside the service. And then from that, you're going to drive them again towards a covert VSL. So essentially, we can take people from social media to the series to the covert VSL. Or you take people from your lessons or your case study to your covert VSL. So there is always an easy next step for them to make. They like what they're seeing or hearing or receiving at this point. What's the easy next yes they can make? And as you can see, what did I say? It's about getting time on brand. It's about proximity to you. It's about covertly pre-selling people. So how do you covertly pre-sell people? Simple. Show them, teach them, provide evidence, come with receipts. Position yourself as a category of one. Prove that you are undeniable so that they make a decision they are interested in you. You don't have to chase, you don't have to convince, you don't have to persuade. They do that all by themselves. And by simply setting this up with a small stepping stone funnel with a series of easy yeses, that people can go from one step to the next, to the next, to the next, to the point where they come to you and they're applying to work with you. Okay, so much more simple. Right, let's move into the promotional parts of things now. So within the promotion, you've got your YouTube lessons. So again, these are covertly selling people within these lessons because you are teaching and covertly selling simultaneously. So each of these videos are created in a way where they are highly valuable, tangible. People actually gain something from giving you their time, and they can see how they could apply it to themselves. So therefore, the perception of value that they've got in you, or the trust they've got in you, or the belief they've got in you naturally increases. So at all times, you can be promoting. So the video itself isn't to promote the service. It's to covertly sell and teach. And then from within that, these lessons link to your covert VSL. So can you see how everything just constantly feeds the next stage? Now, these lessons, again, stay 100% congruent with your intellectual property. So you're going to have like a pillar, a content pillar within your signature intellectual property, but you may have subcategories that you teach within that. So for example, you may have, let's give you an example on this one here. So how to create an offer. So which one's it there? Oh, sorry, the growth flywheel. So I'm teaching you the growth flywheel here, but within the growth flywheel, I have multiple subcategories that I can teach. So I can then go and teach about the indoctrination series and how that feeds the machine, or I can teach how the growth flywheel covertly sells and pre-sells people and gets people ready to buy. How you can also run your cash campaigns within the growth flywheel. So it's very easy, once you understand what these are, and then what your subcategories within your client resources or signature intellectual property, it's very easy for you to then go and map out exactly what your weekly lessons are going to be. And within the weekly lessons, they covertly sell people, they feed people to your covert VSL. Then once a month, we run our cash campaigns. So that can go to your Instagram, It can go to your LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever platform you're on. It also goes to your private email list. And all you simply do is you run your 5-day cash campaign, which is all intentional. And from that, it feeds people in to your VSL or offer doc. And then from that, what you can get is sales list self-checkout for customers or conversion calls for onboarding high-ticket clients. Now, again, just to take you back to the flywheel itself, the dual offer activation doesn't happen until you've literally got yourself to 10 to 20K per month and you're financially stable with one core offer. So as a start point, what you want to do is focus on high ticket. And again, I don't want you booking discovery calls, demo calls, consultations, any of that nonsense. I want you booking calls with people that have been pre-sold, nurtured, and they are coming to have a conversation about working with you. I don't want you wasting your time having to educate people and trying to sell to people and objection handle people, because this system as a whole, that does all of that for you. So if somebody's at this point and they're booking a call, they're not going to have to come and learn about how you do what you do because they've already been educated, whether it's in your indoctrination series, the emails, the weekly lessons, the case studies, the covert VSL, the ongoing lessons, so on and so forth. They have been pre-educated. They don't need to pick your brains and ask you questions about the service because you've literally shown it to them. So if somebody's coming to you, they are already interested. They have already sold themselves on the idea of working with you. And within the offer doc or the VSL itself, people already know the price by the time they come to you. So if they're booking a call, they know what it is, what their journey is going to look like with you, how you're going to solve their problems, the time duration, the plan of attack, the available spots that you've got available to them, but also the price. So by the time they come here, the reason I call it a conversion call and an onboarding call, because that's all you're doing. You're just confirming time, readiness, you collect the payment, you take care of the agreement, and then you conduct the first part of your onboarding all at once. It saves you a significant amount of time. Now, once you're at phase 2, moving into phase 3, and you've got your dual offer, that's where you can have a lower ticket, whether it's a digital product like a course or a subscription offer or whatever it may be. There's no need for a call for that. Self-checkout, and that's where you get customers. Okay, that's part of the leverage growth model. So if you're still trying to get to financial stability, please remember to focus on pursuing high ticket because it'll help you to make more money and less sales, easier for you. Once you get to a point, open up 2 offers, dual offer activation. Now, what you'll see here is the YouTube CTAs. So again, taking the content cadence, but also your YouTube lessons, you can see that each of these link down to in your YouTube. So they come back to, for a high ticket offer to me, for example, if they DM 14, that means they're coming for one of my higher ticket services. Okay, so the link in the description for a particular video could be to feed people back. They comment this word, that triggers my ManyChat. It then asks them a couple of questions, and then we take them through to an application process. If they're successful with that, we book a call, we do the conversion call. If it's for a sales list self-checkout for a subscription, then all we simply do is we send them to the checkout page, they subscribe, they're in, completely hands-off. But also what you want to keep in consideration for, what do we want to do? What are the 2 big metrics that we're chasing? Time on your email list and time consuming you. So time on brand. Those are the 2 biggest metrics, and 2 of the ones that are in the core for KPIs. So just because people have come to your YouTube or whatever it may be, some people may not be in your email list. So this is where we've got our category of 1 Insider Insights newsletter. And that is a core lead magnet, because what I want to do is make sure that any person who's liking me, resonating with me, getting value from what I'm sharing, I want to make sure they're on my email list, because when they're on my email list, they're in the ecosystem. Okay, it's easier for me to serve them, to nurture them, to pre-sell them and get them ready to buy. So just to recap, what you've got is your evergreen system, breaking down your signature intellectual property, creating your indoctrination series, creating your email mini course. That's going to run for the next 12 months. Yes, you can update some of the videos, but you do not abandon the series. You can improve it, you do not abandon. You get people, you post daily, and you get people from your social media content and the service-led content, and you want to get them consuming more of your information. So whether it's a lesson, you can get them go to the lesson, because again, I will create lessons in alignment with each of these. So whatever lessons I've got coming down here, for example, it will always be aligned to what's in here. So the keyword trigger will always stay in place for all of the different lessons that I've got for people, okay? So whether it's going into the series or into a lesson, it's all aligned. All of this top line, second line, third line, it's all congruent. There's no deviation from that. Once a month, you do your client case studies, you post that onto your social media, email list, YouTube. Your covert VSL is where you drive traffic to from your YouTube videos. They go and watch that, and then from that, you're taking them through to application process, offer doc, whatever it may be. Within the promotion, you use your covert sales lessons to discreetly promote your service by getting them to the covert VSL, and the covert VSL is to get them into the offer doc. Then you also just run your monthly cash campaigns across your social media to your email list, moving people into your offer doc, and then going for a customer or a client, depending on whichever one you've got. So that is the growth flywheel. Now the setup and protocol is super simple. You build your signature intellectual property. Annually, you turn that into two main assets: lead magnets, 6-part mini series. Biannually, you can update your covert VSL. Monthly, you conduct a client case study interview with a full breakdown. Weekly, you upload one lesson to YouTube. And then daily, you post short form content, carousels, or written posts with the CTA to get them into a lesson. So my main lead magnets and the entry point to the email list, it's the newsletter itself, so category 1, Insider Insights. It's the 6 Steps to 6 Figures email mini course. It's the mini series itself on YouTube. It's the individual YouTube videos that I'm doing, which can also trigger a ManyChat that's automation that I've got set up, or it's the VSL, because as I said, I can send them back to me on Instagram. So that is the full system. And I promise you, if you use the system, the process of acquiring clients becomes so much easier, because all you have to do is post service-led content that is aligned to what you do inside the service. The content feeds to lessons or to the emails or to the YouTube. Okay, so it goes into the ecosystem. Nothing is disjointed. Nothing is off-brand. And everything is built that people can go through that stepping stone funnel, a series of easy yeses, where they come to a point where they make a decision for themselves. I am interested in working with you. I understand what you do, how you do it, what it will do for me, what it's going to cost. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. And I don't know about you, but that is a much simpler system than the outdated way of just posting random content, hoping that it grows your audience or leads people somewhere, posting random stories, having drawn out conversations in the DMs that take time and energy, but often don't lead anywhere for you, because people are very resistant to that now, because they have just been bombarded by every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the DMs. But if you just go out there from a place of service and giving genuine value and providing evidence and resources and tools and education that is of service to them, that is tangible for them, they will get to a point where they're like, you know what, I like this person, I like how they teach, I like what their personality is, I like how they solve problems that I've got. This feels a fit to me, it feels aligned to me. People don't want to be sold to. Okay, people don't want to be pursued. So this system is very much pull energy, not push energy. It is attract. Okay, it is a social media attraction system that gets people in. Now, once they're in the flywheel, they're in the flywheel. And even if they don't buy off a cash campaign, so what? They're still there. So you're still going to provide more information. You're still going to get them to spend more time on your brand. You're still going to keep them close to you, consuming you. And then when the time is right for them, there will be an inbound request, application, conversation where they're ready to move, or they respond to your cash campaign. Okay, but you are not chasing. So I want you to set the intention. You are going to use this flywheel system to attract, nurture, and convert people in a much more simpler way. It's very scalable. It's very easy for you because all you have to do now is freedom of expression. You already come in with the expertise. You already know how to serve people. Fantastic. Let's put that in your marketing. Let's get people into your longer form videos. Let's get people into your email list. Once they're there, keep hitting those touch points, keep nurturing them, keep providing value, keep giving them that proximity to you so that they either make a decision in an inbound request to want to work with you, or they respond to a cash campaign ready to move forward. Pull energy, not push. This is about attracting people. Much simpler system, if you ask me. And one that will be transformative to in your business. Okay, so now you know what the growth flywheel is. Now you know how you're going to attract people into your business in a much simpler way that allows you to stay within your zones of genius, within your areas of expertise, and without you having to learn skill sets like advanced marketing or sales or persuasion or any of that bullshit. Okay, be a category of one, be undeniable, show up online in that way, move people through the system, and you will make money, you will get sales, you will change lives, and you will get to live a life more opulently. And that's what you're here for, that lifestyle freedom business.